Hey guys, what is going on? It is Ando, and we've got the kit reveal for Tie Dagger. Now, I came out with a video, I think maybe about a week ago, about how I think the Leviathan farm is probably the most important farm in the game if you have Malik and if you have, or sorry, Malgus, and you have, you're going to get his ship. So, and I said that there was going to either be some marquee characters or we're going to already have Sith that are going to be pilots, and that part was true and was proved today. So so today we're gonna see the Sith Trooper and the Tie Dagger. And let me just start off by saying I love this ship, not for necessarily what it's doing, but just the actual intent and design by it. Oftentimes we can find ourselves in, this game, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, getting so centered on, hey, like this thing has to specifically in with this certain meta team. And when that happens, a lot of times, either it's mostly the early game players end up being like, well, that's cool and great for those people that are, end game or mid game even, but it doesn't really do much for me now. And again, I'm not saying that this ship really does fit in with the First Order, but I just love the idea that if you went for SLKR and you're an early game player, like this ship can still have value for you. And there's Sith ships all over the place, so there's still tons of value even if you aren't going for the Leviathan. Even taking out the excuse of saying like, well, eventually you'll go for the Leviathan. I just love the idea that they've created a ship for everyone, really. I mean, there's a lot in here. Like I said, his ties to First Order really at this point are a tag, and all this stuff can be kind of mended in future updates when they add maybe another unique or a different level on top of his uniques or something like that. But anyways, let's get into it. It's called the Tie Dagger. It's a dark side, First Order, and Sith is its tags. So we won't go much into the key attributes or inspirations or strategies because honestly, right now, a lot of that stuff isn't really intuitive because we haven't really seen what the Leviathan's going to do. But something important here, it is a galactic chase and you can earn it through bonus drops on fleet nodes. So that means that starting tonight, you should start doing your at least 50 energy refreshes, or I should say 50 crystal energy refreshes for the fleet energy nodes. So you have tonight, probably tomorrow night, and I'm assuming the event is going to hit us Thursday. And hopefully it's closer to an Iden ship than it is to our normal marquees or galactic chases. But in the past, galactic chases usually last 3 to 4 days. The Iden one was 7 days, and if you did enough crystal refreshes, you actually ended up with a 7-star Iden ship, which was pretty cool. It is going to be required at 7 stars to unlock Leviathan. And, the Leviathan requirements are going to be coming soon. It talks about how it has a First Order tag, because lore-wise, it has that. Interesting that they do make the distinction of the Final Order. I've always thought that, there was potentially some room in there to create a Final Order fleet. It'd be interesting, because you see a lot of the, for instance, we had Home One before we had Profundity, right? We had... I know technically it's a bounty hunter fleet, but, we had, the Executrix and stuff like that before we got the Executor. So it's like we get these factions and then eventually we get the GL variant of that faction. I think that's kind of what they're going to go with eventually, but we'll see. We might get an Admiral Pride Sith capital ship someday. Anyways, let's go into the abilities, which are pretty cool. We got the basic here, Sith Precision. Deal physical damage to target enemy if this attack scores a critical hit, inflict ability block for 1 turn, and gain 5% crit damage stacking for the rest of the encounter. Now, the thing that we're going to kind of jump forward here with this kit reveal is that, yeah, he can actually, he gets called to assist, much like Sith Trooper in, the squad variant, or the ground variant, I should say. It's not as often, but it still is something, right? And that's going to happen. I don't know if you guys just heard my dog, but he just sighed really loudly. But yeah, he could get that ability block, and he's going to be assisting if you can get it down right. You know, again, kind of jumping forward, I do think that this is going to be actually a reinforcement. Just kind of reads that way, at least, because you're going to want at least one tank. And then I'm thinking that, you know, Malgus's ship is going to be a starter. So it really only leaves one room for maybe one more. So I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. Then we get the special, the L7.0 heavy laser cannons. It's got a cooldown of 3. It looks a lot like the cooldown or the same animation that the TIE Interceptor has. And its final text says it deals damage to all enemies at the end of the turn. Enemies with 100% health at the start of this ability are inflicted with vulnerable for 1 turn. So basically just means they can get crit. And all other enemies are inflicted with tenacity down for 1 turn. Okay, so then the next one is the Emperor's Edict. The final text says, whenever an enemy attacks out of turns or another Sith ally is inflicted with debuffs that can be dispelled, gain 1 stack of Vengeance. We'll read what Vengeance is later. Whenever the Vengeance bonus is triggered, Tie Dagger recovers 25% health and gains 5% offense stacking for the rest of the encounter. During the Vengeance bonus turn, Tie Dagger can ignore taunt, and if the capital ship is Sith, so this won't be for the First Order variants, it can also ignore protection. We've seen how kind of crucial it is to ignore protection. There's a lot of things out there, you know, that kind of ignore protection. With Boba's awesome bomb that he has, we see how easily, you know, Houndstooth goes down once you put some, you know, you get through the Geonosians or the Grievous's fleet, and you get rid of his protection. You know, again with the, you know, Y-Wing and, you know, all those characters that do some protection disruption. It's a big deal in ships for sure. It's going to be interesting to see if he's got any more ships in the Sith fleet that can ignore protection. And then so Vengeance is at 15 stacks. Again, remember, like, they gain 1 stack for, you know, in getting inflicted with a debuff or their enemy attacking out of turn. Dispel all debuffs on Sith allies and gain a bonus turn, then lose all stacks. So you get that bonus turn, and then that's when you can hit under protection and ignore taunt. So unique to Eradicate the Weak. This is his crew skill. At the start of the battle, when reinforced, for each active Sith ally, including the capital ship, which is going to be for Leviathan, Tie Dagger gains 20% max protection and 10% tenacity until the end of the encounter. The first time each enemy falls below 100%, Tie Dagger gains 25 defense penetration stacking for the rest of the encounter, and whenever Tie Dagger uses a basic ability against an enemy with less than 100% health, that attack scores a critical hit if possible. So basically, as long as they don't have crit immunity. Whenever another ally attacks an enemy with a concussion mine, Tie Dagger assists 50% less, dealing 50% less damage once per turn, and at the start of Tie Dagger's turn, recover 20% protection per enemy with less than 100% health. So, again, the big thing here is this concussion mine. This is Sith Bomber's, you know, his calling card. If there was ever a doubt that maybe, you know, this fleet was not going to use him, which I don't think anyone ever said that it was, but, you know, you're going to get assists from him, which again leads me to believe that maybe he's not a starter. But his reinforcement isn't super great. It's okay. You know, you get your 5 stacks of Vengeance, so you kind of start off on the right foot. You get crit damage up, which is, you know, again, depending on his damage, and he seems like he's going to basically be guaranteed to crit, or critting is kind of a big part of his kit. You know, that's again, depending on the damage, it might be really, really nice to have that crit damage up. This is the part that kind of, I'd say it's pretty mid, right? You know, inflict a random enemy with healing immunity for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. I don't like the fact that it's a random ally. I really wish it was maybe the target ally or the target enemy. Just the fact that it being a random one, yeah, it just seems like it might not be as useful. But anyways, guys, that is the kit. It does sound like we're going to get some more Rex soon, or the Rex, I should say. We still need 1 more ship until we can kind of figure out what's going to go with this Leviathan fleet. And then obviously they'll show us exactly what you know, the kit for the Leviathan is, and then we can kind of paint the picture and maybe maybe figure out what our lineup is going to be. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. If you guys liked the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.